We have been trained very well here,
That's
James.
a wild audience. 1, 2.
No, we don't like to do that on air, James. We allow that kind of thing off air. Well, welcome back. Here we are at Couch Potatoes Revenge segment once again. And with me tonight, I have with me a guest. Now, I know I've been promising to bring a guest on lots of times, but tonight I really do have one. James, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Nick. Couch Potatoes Revenge.
Couch Potatoes Revenge, yes.
You didn't tell me the name.
Did not, well, I should have had the poster up
here. You didn't tell me the nature of this segment at all.
Right. Well, it's for those of us who do indulge in television but don't like to let on.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a quote in the newspaper this week about that had the word couch potato in it, and my eyes suddenly became alight, and it said that physiologists in Miami have discovered that couch potato girls, for some reason, not boys, seem to drop their pulse rate or their metabolism 16% when watching soap operas as compared to doing absolutely nothing at all.
So they're quieter when they're watching.
Yes, that's right. They're actually more docile and more subdued, and I'm sure the same goes for boys, but it didn't actually mention in the article. Anyway,
any particular soaps to the?
No, but I mean, given that it was a Miami study, I don't know what kind of soaps Miami
Young
shows.
and Restless, is that made?
Is that made? Well,
They're all set in the same place, aren't they?
Yes, yeah, the same kind of sets keep appearing. I don't think Neighbours has made its way over to the...
Well, that raises the pulse rate, there's no doubt about that.
Well, talking of Neighbours, James, I'm going to put you on the spot. James, if you don't know, is a presenter, or one of the presenters, on a new show on television that's just started recently called TVTV, hosted by Simon Townsen. It's on 4 nights a week.
It is
it?
Indeed.
Yes, at 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who... The brain behind the show. How did this show come about, James? Now, how much responsibility are you going to take for it?
Oh, how much responsibility? Oh, none.
None?
None whatsoever.
You're distancing yourself.
No, I was press ganged, you know. Simon grabbed me in the back of Gladesville somewhere and dragged me kicking and screaming to the ABC to be part of it.
Now, that must be because he must have seen you on previous shows where apparently you've been known to introduce cartoons, James. Now,
yes,
even we don't stoop to producing cartoons. What's the story behind producing cartoons?
Introducing cartoons has a noble tradition in this country, you know. Like it's a fine old profession. You've had Shirley Strawn do it. You've had Sophie Lee.
To name but a few. What's happening with Sophie? She hasn't... I
don't know what happened with Sophie. She got dumped off Sex. They got rid of her off that. Got Pamela Stevenson instead. And I think Sophie was confident of getting another gig at 9, but it didn't happen.
Right. Back
you go. Go back to the Freak Dad Flower Children. See how you do there.
The cast and crew, I must admit, were very disappointed when Sophie was hauled off air. We have a soft spot for Sophie.
Well, I have a local story about Sophie Lee. Watching the Bugs Bunny show in the Moore Park Golf Club one afternoon at 5 o'clock and watching 60 sort of grown old men, you know, fat, having played golf and drinking beer, suddenly just turn to the big screen going...
in unison, it was kind of like...
Yeah, the Roadrunner had just gone off and Sophie Lee had just come on.
Right. Well, I can well and truly believe it.
Yeah.
All right, now TVTV, a show that has created... well, it has stirred the passions, I would say, certainly in this studio when I mentioned that we were going to review it. No, there's a mixed audience, I'll say, without being diplomatic about it. No, I mean, I watched it, to be honest, about a week and a half ago when I thought you were first going to come on the show, but more of that later. And I was impressed. I thought that it covered shows with, without... sounding high and mighty, it's intelligently. I mean, it didn't insult me. It didn't insult my brother, who's 5 years younger than me, or my father. So I kind of covered the age spectrum there somewhat.
It's not actually intended to be harmful in any way.
No, but you say that now. But there are people who've been known to throw things at me when I mentioned that I was going to do it. No, it seemed to come across as very warm and that kind of thing. Now, tell me, what kind of preparation goes into one of these shows? I mean, we see your smiling face on the screen. Now, how much preparation goes
well,
into...
this show has a particularly weird process, which is unique to itself. We have a bank of super VHS monitors. They tape everything all day. We sit around in a meeting in the first thing in the morning, and Simon sort of says, yeah, you do that, you do that, you do that. And we say, yeah, okay, I might do that, or I'd rather do the other thing. Then we go away and sit down, we type up 150 words or so, and then we go through the program, picking out little bits off the super VHS, going, oh yeah, that looks all right, and stick that all together. And then that all goes over the ABC. In the afternoon we sit down and record the thing. Takes about an hour and a half or something. And out it goes into the living room. Sorry.
So there are no researchers involved? I thought you...
Well, you sort of do your own. There's a couple of sort of research assistants or, segment producers or whatever they might be called. But the bulk was just, yeah, you watch it, you think about it, you decide what you feel and say it.
Now, having said that, I found it a worthwhile show, or enjoyable when I watched it, watching it 4 nights a week perhaps is a little much. I mean, we do have shows that kind of... Well, we have Media Watch and... Back chat. What is it? Back chat. Yeah, which semi-cover your area. I read in a newspaper article, research, that Simon was saying that it was the first of its kind worldwide, or that type of show. Just to correct that, my show was the first show that actually had reviewing TV shows.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a new idea.
Yeah, right. Do you consider it groundbreaking as such? I mean, that's how it's being labelled, but I mean, would you...
It is to a certain extent. To have a television show that comments on television is unusual. It's not...
Right,
It's, people shy away from it a bit. Simon tried it on Live at 5 a few years ago and, got a bit of press for doing it. Right. And, it's an odd sort of thing. TV can't review TV without becoming TV. You know what I mean? Like we fall into the same trap as any other TV show, making a show about TV. Now, you can drive yourself really mad when you start thinking like that. But it's also more traditional for other mediums, newspaper and radio, to comment on television. Newspapers don't review other newspapers.
Right, it's open slather on
there isn't a radio television. Column on 2GB. So for all of a sudden there to be a TV column which talks about TV is unusual. But in fact there's no reason why there shouldn't be, particularly seeing we live in a climate where there's a government broadcaster and how many commercials? Three commercials and SBS. So you do have one neutral party in that, which is kind of the ABC, and so why shouldn't it sit there and talk about the TV culture,
Just how neutral is it? I mean, when it comes to dealing with the ABC's programs, I mean, surely it's not...
No, well, it can't be neutral, of course. That's the problem with it. I suppose it could be, having said that. Yeah, it could be more neutral. Stuart Littlemore appears to achieve an objectivity. He has personal subjectivity, but he achieves objectivity, and he'll slander anything. Four Corners, that was ghastly, and he'll have a go at it. We're a lot more tentative. We're in a sort of slightly more... We're meant to be entertaining. We have a brief to be entertaining at 6:30 at night, it's meant to be light. So it's a lot harder to suddenly start going, look, the handling of the Waco disaster, the 7:30 report was, this, that or the other,
Yes, but having said that, it's not, and I don't mean to put presenting cartoons down, but I mean, it's not, directed at the lowest common denominator, is it? I mean, you handle some pretty, well, the night I watched, you dealt with a big country, which I consider...
a big country?
Yeah, or is it...
The Big Picture?
No. The show that used to be on the ABC...
it's now on 10?
That they sold.
Was I on that? I don't remember.
No, I don't think so, no. Now, what's the story with that? You had 3 presenters coming in...
Yes, there's news on that front. There was a rotating panel up until about 9:30 this morning. There's now, in fact, only 3 presenters left. Edith Bliss, Sue Ann Cox and myself. Now the only ones. That's a CTV1 scoop. That will not
you heard it here first.
Will not have gone out on any other medium as yet. You'll read about it in the papers tomorrow. You heard it first here. John, but there were 5 presenters and we rotated.
Yes. Well, speaking of one of them, John Hanrahan, found him interesting, but he slagged off Roy and HG, which
madness.
Yes.
A joke.
Yes,
it was a joke for doing that.
Okay, so do you try and bring individual styles to them? I mean, is that your brief? Do you have something to kind of inject a bit of...
Yeah, I mean, that's what's meant to be happening, is that you're meant to be just talking about it how you would normally talk about it. there's a bit of an atmosphere of this is how it shall be done, which is that happens in most shows. Most shows, you walk in and there's a structure there already, or there's somebody in charge, and they kind of impose a house style, which is also necessary. I mean, the Sydney Morning Herald looks like the Sydney Morning Herald. It doesn't look like all sorts of things, you know. So yeah, to a certain extent, you can do what you want to do.
Trying to create a style unique to that particular
you know, within the parameter of talking about somebody else's TV show, trying to be reasonably fair, trying to be entertaining, you know, you end up being this strange monster.
We sometimes suffer from lack of substance with plenty of style, so I can relate to the reverse.
That's TV for you.
All right, so how's the show going in terms of the almighty ratings, and how important is that to the ABC? I mean, are you aware of, or do you keep abreast of such things, or is it really...
every single TV show watches the ratings every day. Ratings come in every morning, and it's religion, you know. About 10:30, it's the stone tablets come down through the fax machine.
Yes.
And you know, the people plot little charts of them, and you know, people invent theories as to why they're going up or down. It's like the stock market or something, you know. It's rating kind of 5s and 6s, which is reasonable for that time slot. Current Affair gets 30. So it's not doing much of a nip for the 2 mics, but and ratings are very important to the ABC. In recent years, it's become more and more a factor in how they decide as to whether they decide to go on with the show or not. But it depends a little bit on the kind of show. Something like Four Corners or A Big Picture doesn't necessarily have to rate as fulfilling other functions. Our show has to rate, or there's no point.
Right. Here at CTV, we have at least one viewer who has come up and made herself known in a nightclub. No, and we send a cheerio to her on every wrap-up of the show. Yeah. So hello, Max, once again.
Max.
Yes. Yeah.
G'day, Max, club goer.
So where did... not to delve too deeply into your television history, but where did it begin? Was it something you always wanted to do, or did you kind of fall into it?
Actually, the first television job I had was when I was 16, and I played... I was a musician, and I played saxophone in a country television Tonight Show in the little orchestra, you know, like the Peter Bosky of 1970 or something, in Ballarat in Victoria. And I did that for about 6 months or so. But then I was a musician, and then I got a job doing the afternoon show, the kid show at the ABC about 7 years ago.
Right. And how did you find that when you first got into it? Was it a big step, well, I guess, from playing an instrument in a band to presenting a national show?
It was a huge step for me because I actually hadn't had a job until then. Well, I hadn't had
a lot of us can relate to that, actually.
I mean, I'd had jobs, but I'd worked as a musician, so I'd work at night and I'd toured. And all of a sudden I was living in Sydney and going to an office every day, and so that took me about a year to adjust to doing that. And I'd never worked in anything like that before. Suddenly I was at the ABC, you know, I'd just been in bands, you know.
Right.
What the hell this place was. So it was
talent spotted, as it were, from an early age.
Yes.
All right, we've all got cards here that we'd like to give you later on. Okay, and do you have goals? I mean, does television is where you want to continue in that medium, or is there other areas you'd like to get into? I mean, is journalism, which is pseudo-journalism, what you're doing now, I guess, is that
I've done a fair bit of pseudo-journalism in my time. I'm not sure. I don't have an easy answer for that. I've drifted along in TV, and I've done a bit of this and I've done a bit of that, and I've ended up in this particular job at the moment. And you know, I don't know. It can be quite an unsatisfying world, TV. Really, it's not necessarily. It's kind of fun and it's sort of easy, but it's not necessarily all that satisfying. You know, you're dealing with a lot of sort of... It's a lot of effort to get a little bit of information out there, you know. So I tend to think of myself going more into writing areas, just not really worrying about performing on camera, but just writing and maybe writing for other people. But you don't determine it yourself either in TV. It's so... You are such at the whim of, you know, strange decisions made for all sorts of reasons that have very little to do with whether or not what you're doing might be entertaining.
And Simon himself, the man, the myth, the legend, how is he as a boss? Would you call him a boss?
Yeah, Simon's the boss. He's the executive producer of the company which produces TVTV.
Right.
TVTV is an independent production which the ABC buy every day. And then put it to air. So he's the boss of that company, and he's the boss. He's, he lays it down how he wants to do it.
Yes, I saw the show that I managed to catch. He was interviewing Darren Hinch, and he chatted very easily with him, and he managed. Well, he asked hard questions. He didn't exactly get hard answers. I mean, he got typical Hinch replies, but. I'm not suggesting that he ever lost his interviewing technique or whatever, but because I used to watch him religiously, and in fact many of us used to watch him on Simon Townsend Wonderworld, and you know enjoyed it. And you know he still comes across as you know, nice guy. Although signing off with the world really is wonderful, does get a bit patronising.
TV really is. It's even stranger. Yeah, no, he stopped that too now.
Has he?
That's gone, and the laugh is gone.
The laugh. What is Simon without the giggle? I ask you.
There's no dog either.
No, what's he got now? That little hairless lizard, is it?
Yeah, we tried the axolotl for a while, but it died. Bad omen.
I think it's a jinx just going on air with Simon in the first place.
The final pilot, the axolotl died. Ooh, spooky.
There's an omen for you. How is working for the ABC as compared to, I don't know, if you've not worked in the networks, what you've heard?
Well, I worked at Channel 10 for 14 months or 15 months, and at the ABC before that, and now back at the ABC. Yeah, they're completely different. Totally different animals. The commercial network's only concern is money. Money, 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 and money.
Right, so the rumours are true.
The rumours are true, yes. Yeah. There's nothing else going on there. They have no interest in anything else because that's the only reason they're there. Right. Whatever they might say about, you know, Australian content or trying to bring better and, you know, more interesting information to us, as long as it makes money. They try to do it, and they try to make a good program, but you've just got an overriding atmosphere of people trying to make money.
Yes.
At the ABC, you've got an atmosphere of people trying to get an audience, but the people actually making the show aren't trying to make money out of it.
Right.
The organisation might need to make money now and might need to investigate those sort of things, but you just have a different culture. You don't have people who are concerned about getting a nice flat and neutral bay and a red Toyota, you know.
Right. All right. Because I watched a program, Attitude, which is screens on the ABC, and yes, it is good. And they mentioned on it that the cost of importing an American program is something like 20% of the cost of making one over here. Which I mean, as you're suggesting for the networks, I mean it's economic suicide to try and produce your own stuff. So it's not hard to see why not difficult to see why they do it. I'm just wondering, does the ABC incur losses? I mean, they can't run at a loss, surely. But I mean, if they're going to produce.
No, I don't think it runs at a loss. I mean, that sort of accounting area of the ABC I'm not very clear on or familiar with. I just know that it needs lots of money.
Right, yeah. All I was getting at is because there is so much Australian content on the ABC, and given that it costs so much, apparently, I'm just wondering how they kind of make ends meet. But that's obviously we'll have to get.
Wouldn't have the faintest idea. I don't think anybody else does either.
Okay, so how long do you envisage TVTV's run to continue for? I mean, I've read Marcus Casey in the Telegraph Mirror, who, well, one week he was particularly enthralled. Yes, he was. There's a full. I'm going to hold this up at the camera. We don't actually do this. Describing it with such.
Simon's pacey look at the box.
Yes.
Great headline.
Upbeat, all this kind of thing. Yeah, they were. He was very enthusiastic, and then some other person. Yes, the worm has turned. He described it as neighbours would compare better to it in what's his words? 4 nights a week of TVTV. Starts to wear a bit.
I think there's no doubt in anyone's mind that this is a perfect format for half hour a week or 1 hour a week.
Right.
But TV is always driven not by a perfect world, but by a real world. The ABC can never find anything to put on at 6:30 at night.
Right.
They struggle.
The lead up to the news.
The lead up to the news. This is the Bermuda Triangle of the ABC.
Yes. Well, aren't people getting home from work? I mean,
people are getting home from work. They don't necessarily.
Or watching Yana.
Or watching Yana. You can't preempt the news. The news is the big thing. It's got all the stuff that's happening. So whatever's on before it has to be sort of not important. You've got this sort of vacuum that is a big problem in the ABC and has been for years. And the last time the ABC had a successful program in this time slot was GTK and Bellbird, which is about 1970. There's virtually been nothing ever since that worked. And so TVTV is on 4 nights a week because it's a cheap solution. We just tape everybody else's show and talk about it.
Parasitic television, if you will. Do you have a favourite?
Eating itself.
Yeah. favourite TV programs? I mean, do you watch the box? Do you have a box?
Yeah, I have a box. In fact, I do watch a lot of the box. I mean, I do have a certain commitment to it as a career now, more than perhaps I did a few years ago. So now I watch a lot of stuff to see what it is. You know, that's great, or how's that done? I've got a soft spot for sitcoms. I love sitcoms. I watch enormous amounts of Roseanne and Murphy Brown, and, you know, Home Improvements, and a lot of them. I love them. I think they're fantastic little mini dramas. You know, they're geniuses who create those things, who manage to make all those little. Roseanne's fantastic.
Yes,
you know? I love that. She'll be here soon.
We're getting her on, actually.
Yeah, Northern Exposure is brilliant. You know, watch that a lot. Media watch. I watch a lot of news and current affairs and that sort of stuff. So, but I'm only tape stuff. I tend to tape it. I might only watch half of it or something and just speed through it. And
Tell me, when we're on air, we sometimes feel a bit restrained from saying things about certain people for fear of kind of offending them. But I mean, I'm going to cite the Vizard case, the one that the first story you did. I mean, and I'm only reading, you know, getting from what I got in the paper, and the title was "Vizard tries hard, dies hard." A memorable quote. Now, I mean, what kind of? I mean, are you just free to do that, or I mean?
Well, if you're a critic, if you're in a critic, whatever it is you're criticising, then that is what you are meant to do. I was a music critic for a while. I wrote for the Australian and for Rolling Stone and things like that. It's the same thing, you know.
Right, it's part of the course.
If In Excess bring out an album and it's awful, well, you're meant to say it's awful. You're not meant to sort of go, oh well, not a bad try, Mike.
Right.
And that's also not very interesting.
Yeah,
you know, you're meant to have an opinion about it, and it's meant to be a critical opinion. That's the point.
Yeah.
So, you know, something like that is just normal criticism. You know, there's the Vizard show. It's not working. The reason it's not working is Steve. You know, with somebody going to say it. You know, and it's not even that extraordinary. I mean, other people have been doing it. Doug Anderson does it whenever he feels like it, and you know, it's Melbourne columnists who write it all the time. So you're only really saying what everybody thinks and feels anyway. Mainly what you're trying to do as a critic, I think, is pick up that kind of vibe, you know, whatever that is, however you receive that. You're trying to sort of go, yeah, it's not working, no one seems to like it. There's not much point sort of going in. You can go in and criticise something that everybody likes as well, but I think you're also trying to pick up general atmosphere.
Right. And
with
pay television, do you have any feelings on that with the introduction of
Lord knows what's going on there either.
Or whether they'll get their act together?
Can anybody follow that?
No, I mean...
Who are these pornographers that they've given these licences to? It's just weird. They just sound like they've gone up Parramatta Road and found a couple and said, here you go. You know?
Yeah.
It's just weird. I mean, my only thoughts about pay television is we get plenty of TV now for free.
Right.
And now someone's going to charge you for it.
Right,
you know?
right, yes,
like, you were talking about state of origin before. You don't think you're going to be paying for that in about 2 years' time? Of course you will be. That's the only way a pay television station can be profitable. In America, the Super Bowl is on pay. It's not on free anymore. In America, you pay $150 extra to watch the Olympics if you want an uninterrupted coverage of the Olympics. Otherwise, all you get is about 2 hours on the free-to-air networks. So they're blown out of the water. The only way that anyone's going to make any money out of pay is if they have stuff that people will pay to watch, which is the cricket, the state of origin, you know, the big movies.
So they're holding it to ransom, really.
Yeah, well, you don't have, they'll just go and buy it up, you know. So
well, that isn't certainly public knowledge. I mean, but it isn't put across that way.
No, it's not.
Media.
It tends to be put across as sort of, you know, to me it seems like the government and media owners dealing with one another about this thing they think we all want. You know, and I haven't seen a protest in the street yet saying that they want pay TV. You know, we see a lot of good TV. You can graze through the channels all week and you will see everything.
100 hours a day apparently.
Yeah, you know, there's 4 video shops within 100 metres of where I live.
Yes,
you know,
yes. And the 6th channel that's coming, or hopefully will be coming on in August, we're hoping to contribute some material towards that. Do you hold hopes for that, or have you given it any thought about
I think that's fantastic. I mean, public radio, so, you know, public television is fantastic. I love these sort of things because they just sound, you know, you can just sit here and talk. There's we didn't have to go to an ad break, we didn't have to go anywhere, nothing. You know, we just sat here and we just talked for 25 minutes or whatever, instead of, you know, the constraints of formats on commercial or, you know, the government media is a pain in the running sheet.
And I've been asked by my music critic to ask you how the music career is going.
Right. It's a bit stalled.
On the back burner at the moment?
Yeah, it's a bit on the back burner. I practice a lot of... for some reason I've decided to practice piano, so I sort of sit at home going... but that's...
And call it practice.
Yeah, I'm not very good at it, so it's annoying to other people. You know, I only get to do it if I'm on my own. But, yeah, I might play. I don't know. I'll see how it goes.
Right. All right, James. Well, thanks very much for coming in this evening. We've enjoyed it.
I'll just walk home now.
Yeah. James lives apparently across the road and down the hill, so no cab fares. Mate, we're on a very tight budget here, James, as you understand. Yeah. It all went on this shirt, apparently. So, all right. So we're going to go to a tape now, and look out for TVTV. I mean, it may not be your cup of tea, but as a reviewer of shows. I worked this out. A reviewer of a show that reviews shows. I reckon this show is worth reviewing. And on that note, James and everyone else who's confused in the audience here, I'll see you a little later on. See you later.